Will the aldermen please take their seats? Thank you. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the July 2nd, 2018 regular meeting of the Milford Board of Aldermen. Please join me as we salute our flag. Madam Secretary, will you please take the roll?
Alderman Anderson.
Present.
Alderman Beatty. Alderman Fortunati. Alderman Gaynor. Here. Alderman Gurman.
Here.
Alderman Giannatasio. Here. Alderman Golden. Alderman Grant.
Here.
Alderman Hardiman. I know I saw him. Yes, I did. I got you, sir.
I am here.
Thank you, sir. Alderman Smith. Here. Alderman Sutton. Here. Alderman Tranquilli. Here. Alderman Beccarelli. Here. Alderman Vitro.
Here.
Alderman Vitale. Here. 14 present, Mr. Chairman.
We have 14 present. We do have a quorum. Thank you, Madam Secretary. The next portion of the meeting is devoted to public comment. Statements are limited to the legislative function of the Board of Aldermen. The time limit granted to each speaker shall be 3 minutes. Residents, taxpayers, and electors may address the board at this time. The board encourages speakers not to express derogatory, insensitive, or offensive statements, or to engage in personal attacks against individuals. In order to allow everyone an opportunity to speak, I'd ask that everyone please limit their comments to 3 minutes. Anyone wishing to address the board can do so at this time.
Good evening on this very hot summer day. Sue Glennon, 99 Carlson Drive, Milford, Connecticut. I'm here this evening as chair of your Board of Education, and as I talked to Mr. Vitro last week, I wanted to take the opportunity to introduce you to our superintendent-elect, Dr. Anna Kutaya, who's here with me this evening. She comes to Milford Public Schools with over 25 years of experience as a teacher, an assistant principal, a principal, educational consultant for the State Department of Education, director of elementary education, and a superintendent. She will officially be beginning her duties here in Milford on August 1st, but has been in district already on a number of occasions, meeting staff and getting up to speed on district initiatives. So Board of Education members are excited to have Dr. Kutaya join our school community in August, and if it's okay with the board, she would like to just give a greeting. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for this opportunity. And I'm especially grateful to the Board of Education for the opportunity to serve as superintendent of schools, the children, and the community of Milford. It is my hopes that over the next few years together, many, many years together, that we can work together to continue to build upon the great school system that we already have for our young people. With you, as elected officials, and with the many community partners that we have in Milford. So over the next few months, specifically though, to start that off, I will be engaging in an entry plan that would allow me to listen and learn from you, from our many stakeholders, to learn more about what makes this school system great so we can continue to grow it and build upon the great foundation that already exists. And as Ms. Glennon has already mentioned, I have been in district working with Dr. Fieser and the leadership team so that we can make this transition as seamless as possible, handing off the torch so that we can continue to do great things for students. So while my official start date isn't until August 1st, I will be in Milford a bit, as much as I can, and then officially on August 1st to join the team here. So thank you for this opportunity to speak to you.
Anyone else wishing to address the board at this time? Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item number 3, consideration of minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the regular minutes of the Board of Aldermen meeting held on June 4th, 2018.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. We do not have a special organizational meeting to consider. And next on the agenda would be the chairman's report. I just want to wish everybody a happy 4th of July, a happy, safe 4th of July. I know we had a beautiful display of fireworks Saturday night. Gives you an idea of what we're in store for coming up. Just want to thank the mayor and Public Works Department and Parks and Recreation for all the work they did to get that off the ground. It was very successful. And Julie Nash is in the audience, and I'd really like to thank her very much as well. Next item on the agenda is on item number 6, the mayor's report and recommendations. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Happy Independence Day. Just to follow up on what our Chairman Vitro said, I wish everybody a spirited fireworks extravaganza from last Saturday, and I know that as the festivities continue this week, everybody will be safe. It's a relatively short agenda. If you have any questions as they arise, please don't hesitate to ask.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Item number 7 on the agenda, we have no unfinished business. Moving on to agenda item number 8, new business, Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item number 8A.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the request for the appointment of Albert W. Frank III, 27 Green Street, as a member of the Economic Development Commission to fill the present vacancy, term expiring 12/31/20.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Yes. Alderman Giannattasio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you, I just would like to make a comment about his resume. It's very extensive, and he seems to be more than qualified. And I'm actually impressed that he's willing to serve, and he is a fellow Republican, so I'd like to congratulate him on his new position. Thank you. Good luck.
Is there any more discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. At this time, our newly confirmed commission member come to the front of the auditorium to be sworn in by our city clerk.
Hi there. I don't bite. Do you solemnly swear or sincerely affirm that you will uphold your duties and responsibilities as the member of the Economic Development Commission for the City of Milford, so help you God, or under the pain or penalty for perjury or false statement?
I will.
Okay, congratulations.
Moving on to agenda number 9, there is no new business. Agenda item number 10, there is no...
Mr. Chair, there are a couple agenda items, 8B and 8C, which we need to address as well.
Right on, Mr. Mayor, sorry. I'm getting all excited here. It's such a short agenda. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 8B.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the request for the attached resolution regarding grant application for Consolidated Housing and Community Development Plan. Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Alderman Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you, sir. I wanted to note for the record that the Community Block Grant Annual Action Plan and application is now in its 44th year. That would mean that previous Board of Aldermen and mayors have approved of these plans since 1974. And this is, I think, a real achievement because this is a terrific example of new federalism. Block grant funding has long outlived revenue sharing that existed in the early 70s that was thought to be the way to take federal funds and to push them back down to the municipalities, given the thought that government that is closest to the people has the most amount of flexibility to reflect true local needs. The fact that we're now approving within a short time the 44th application is significant, and it's one that we ought not to just pass without comment, because it really is a great example of federal municipal cooperation. And in recent years, there was the additional CDBG-DR funding that was made available, and so that has had also a significant impact here in Milford after Storm Sandy and Storm Irene. With that said, my question of Sheila, good evening.
Good evening.
Is to have you outline for the board those areas which might be new this year. I know that there's ongoing funding for a number of projects throughout the city, and I might note parenthetically that, you know, being the aldermanic liaison to the Milford Housing Authority, they could not do their job without the assistance of this particular program, because there's really no state subsidy that exists for the state units, and through community development block grant funding, they've been able to replace windows and repair elevators and do a number of other things to benefit low and moderate income persons. So with that, give you a few minutes to outline what is new and make whatever other comments you wish to make.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alderman Anderson. Thank you for the recognition, and I thank the city and all the departments for their contribution and participation, because without their assistance, I can't spend the money, and we can't continue to get it, receive it, and that I don't foresee being an issue in the future, so we look forward to it. We do have some new funding, we've kind of solicited some other public services, so we're working with directly with the Southern Agency on Aging, and we're providing some funding through public service so that they can continue their in-home care to seniors who lose their I think it's Medicare after a certain period of time. So the committee was really very excited about that, and that's a wonderful agency. So we went ahead and allocated that. we have shifted some funds to, directly to the Board of Education, the adult education program for scholarships to help low to moderate income people receive or take their employment training classes. So it falls under employment training so that they can get that direct opportunity to improve their skills and achieve, higher employment, go from underemployed to employed. Again, CDBG-DR, after that funding came from Sandy, we were able to fund the wastewater project elevation of a generator over on Sailor's Lane. So there's some additional funding in there to push that into the bid process. And we continue, again, the Housing Authority is a terrific expenditure of funds. Besides the windows at JAGO, we did finish the community room over at McKeon, and so that's wonderful. It took a long time, but they did get through that. They're much easier to work with now, and it's a terrific way to fulfill the mission of HUD. So we continue with our housing programs too. We've had some bumps there, but we're working through it. There are challenges, but we have we assisted 5 people thus far in our housing program this year. Direct residential, single family housing. So yeah, we're continuing. One more year, we hope more.
Thank you for the update. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Welcome. You're welcome, thank you. Any other questions?
Alderman Giannattasio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you. Good evening, Sheila.
Good evening.
In our agenda, page 8B, there's a list of projects with project names. There's 20 of them.
That's correct.
Is that, are these 20 projects all going to be addressed with this most recent funding?
That's correct. So those are the proposed projects that you're voting on for approval tonight that will be submitted to HUD for their official formal approval, which we should get before October 1st, and then the program will start and these will be funded.
Just to follow up through you, Mr. Chairman, how are these identified, these 20 projects? Do they come out of a committee?
We solicit at the beginning of the year. We put out a NOFA, so a Notice of Funding Assistance, of funding availability. And we have a large mailing list. They consist of previous subrecipients and anybody new who's requested through the year, anybody we decide to solicit to. And then they apply or they don't apply. And then it goes through a review process, public hearing. And the committee and the mayor and Julie and I oversee that, and we put forth recommendations.
And you're confident that all these 20 projects will be funded?
I am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Alderman Vitale.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you. Good evening, Sheila.
Good evening.
Just kind of elaborate, or can you walk me through the idea of, I know the initiatives are here and the agencies had indicated what they would want. Do they come in with a budget, or do you allocate an individual sum to each of them? Or then you work within what they have already given you or proposed?
So the grant is restricted at 15% for public services. So that, I think, based on the total grant, was like 68,000, almost 69,000 this year. So we have to work within that. We kind of start there. And we look at their financials, their budgets. They're required to submit the budget. They're required to submit all their financial statements for the organization. And we look at what their need is, what their organizational capacity is. And then, as in the case of the Agency on Aging, the service was, getting an idea of how much it actually would cost for a year, how many people she could assist. And based on that, we were able to determine that we could assist a certain amount of people for a certain amount of funding within the cap. Now, it wasn't her budget. Her budget, she requested, a lot of times they request, you know, quite more than we can assist them with. But we make sure that they can assist the number of people that provides public benefit. And if not, then we might not fund them at all. We try to fund so that they are assisting as many people as possible and achieve the highest public benefit.
Just to follow up, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I just was wondering that do you give them an allocation after they submit to prior
Right.
to that, so that they may not get what they want, but it's a matter of saying, this is the sum you do have, you work within, not to exceed whatever that might be.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Knowing that they can achieve their goals based on what we provide. Yeah. And then the balance is plugged in depending on the capital project, you know, as the next public facility project, and then the housing projects, housing programs. You're welcome.
Any more questions from the board? Thank you, Sheila,
Thank
for all
you
your,
very much. Appreciate it.
for the work you do and all the questions you answer for the board members. Any more discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 8C.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the request for the attached allocation transfer number 1, Vehicle Acquisition Program.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Alderman Gurman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to, I see our Public Works Director back there. Mr. Saley, if you can just elaborate on some of the new vehicles that we're looking, is it to replace some old ones, or is it adding to the fleet, or phasing out some old stuff, et cetera?
Sure. So Alderman Gurman, the allocation is for 1 new plow truck. To give the board an example, we took 4 offline this year because of age and condition of the plow truck, and we're replacing it with 1. So it's going to be a struggle, but we're going to do the best we can under the circumstances. We're going to have a hook truck, which is a multifaceted truck that will do some plowing, but also be able to put our hot box in for paving in the wintertime. And we can also put a sander on it, and also pick it up with a dumpster if we needed to pick up smaller dumpsters. We're going to have a little utility truck for building maintenance, and then an F-250 for building maintenance also, and then 1 mason dump for one of our masons.
And, oh, sorry. One follow-up on the rake, beach rake, is it?
Yes, I'm sorry, in the beach rake also, I apologize.
So is that, we have one now that's pretty good. You
Yes.
have use, enough need for another one? Is that what it is?
There's the beach rake, the beach in Milford is one of our best assets. Over the last few years, we've had a number of times where it's gone out. I believe the beach rake is over 25 years old, and it's getting past its useful life. It still would be a nice spare, but it's not for a frontline truck at the present time. That's our opinion. That's why we were going to do it last year, but the funds weren't available. So.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, just to add on, at least 2 of these vehicles we've identified as potentially being part of a Volkswagen settlement grant proposal, where if you replace older vehicles, diesel vehicles, with new, more efficient ones, the Volkswagen settlement will pay for at least a portion of the vehicle replacement. And we think that one of the 6-wheel plow trucks and the hook lift will be eligible. At least those will be included in our application for some reimbursement for that grant.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Alderman Grant.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you. You had mentioned that the beach rake is about 25 years old at this point. Is the new one that you're going to be purchasing, hoping after 25 years, has been improvements in the technology? Is this going to improve the beaches?
Actually, I mean, they're actually more efficient in regards to fuel consumption and actually pollution, but they're similar. There's a few more attachments we can put on. The PTOs are a little stronger, but pretty much it's the same machine.
And just a quick follow-up, it's pretty much the same machine. I'm assuming then, obviously you've looked into, other ones that could be available, and this is the best that's available for our beaches?
Yeah, you have to have a wide track machine down on the beach. Even the machine we presently have, there's been a few times when we've hit some soft sand or we've gotten stuck. So it's really tailor-made for the beach area. It pulls our tine machine. So it's a very unique piece. It's a farm tractor. It's made for farming, so that's, well, we don't do any farming here, so. But we do a lot of beach work. All the beaches from Walnut Beach all the way to Woodmont, we hit, so.
Thank you.
Alderman Vitale.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you, to Mr. Director. Can you kind of explain or elaborate on why the acquisition plan in 19 and 20 is a little heavy as far as vehicles are concerned, and why it's not spread out a little more evenly?
Well, the mayor asked me to put a plan together. The last 2 years, I thought we were fairly light. Even this year, I think we're light. I originally asked for 2 plow trucks both of the years. So we did put them into the account for the next year. We're hoping that the economics will be a little bit better for the city. But the mayor asked me to be conservative this year, and we were conservative last year.
Okay, thank you.
Gina Tazio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to Director Saley. Good evening.
Good evening, Alderman Genitazzi. How are you today?
Good, good. I'm doing well, thank you. On the hook lift truck for $125,000, that's the chassis including the extra additional apparatuses that you were?
No, that's just the chassis. We'll be taking some of the other monies out of the solid waste account and out of the town aid account, depending on, I mean, it's got to go out to bid, and it depends on what size truck, and that's what we're trying to decide, if we're going to do a CDL truck or if we're going to do a smaller truck with that. And actually, we're going to talk to a few of the haulers to see where we get the best bang for our buck. We don't do a lot of heavy hauling. Our hot box that we do asphalt is typically 3 tons, so the smaller trucks are more versatile. They also give us 4-wheel drive, and obviously there's just some better pricing, but we also have some concern about when those big snowstorms come, the smaller trucks are a little undersized, so we're thinking if we're going to get the best bang for the dollar. And we're working with Corey Vanna, who's my garage foreman, and also our solid waste foreman, and myself, and the Parks and Highway, Richie Tomasco and Tom Hunt.
Okay. My next question, through you, Mr. Chairman, is obviously the plow truck, which is the big item, $200,000. I'm assuming that that comes equipped with a brand new plow.
Yes, that's correct. It's an all-season body, which is, with the new salt that we're using, is very, very beneficial. The old trucks are really rusting out, the corrosion.
And then looking ahead to 2019, it looks like you're putting in for a replacement plow, which would be a brand new plow to replace one of the older plows.
I believe it's $50,000. Yeah, it's a number of plows. The plows cost us right around $15,000. And the plows do have a lot of wear and tear on some of the existing trucks.
The other thing that's interesting to me is the sidewalk plow loader blower. I know it's coming up 2019, but I think that'll be very beneficial for the downtown area. I've seen those before in New Haven, and I think if it's what I think it is, it actually snow blows the snow into like a dump truck.
Sure. So just so you know, we actually have one of those pieces of equipment now, and I asked the mayor if I could put it into the budget. My concern is if we have another big storm, it's an ideal piece of equipment to get through the roads, similar to a few years ago when we couldn't get the roads open. It's really an insurance policy, but it also does a lot of sidewalk work, so that's the reason for that.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Saley.
Any more discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Mr. Saley, while you're up there at the microphone, I just want to take this opportunity to congratulate you on your expediting that pickleball courts and that splash pad. That put together, that's a lot of work putting together in a short period of time. You and your staff and your subcontractor under your command deserved congratulations.
I appreciate that, but really the credit truthfully goes to the mayor and Richie Tomasco and Frankie Muccicharo, who's a subcontractor. Pat Devine has been our GC over there, has been a tremendous job, and actually all the men and women of Public Works that have put a lot of time and effort into it. I don't know if the mayor wants to announce it, but we're going to be opening up officially, I believe, on the 4th of July at 12 o'clock, and we're going to see how we go, but we're very excited about it.
Fantastic. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Alderman Vitale.
through you, and maybe in the discussion, with the splash pad has come up, it's going to open up on the 4th. It's fantastic. I visit with it. But how are we going to police that, and how are we going to, is it our mindset that we are going to be, this is residents only kind of thing? Do we open it, is it going to be open to other communities? Can you just elaborate on that a little bit, please, Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Chairman, through you to Alderman Vitale, it is my pleasure to announce that July 4th at high noon, the splash pad and the pickleball courts will be open for business. Right now, we are, the splash pad and pickleball courts, as is the rest of Eisenhower Park, is open for everyone. We are going to have 2 parking lots designated for Milford parking stickers only, the parking lot up by the tennis courts and the new parking lot. Public Works will be putting signs up sometime in the next couple weeks that signify that. The lower parking lot towards where the fireman's muster is will be available for anyone, whether you have a Milford parking sticker or not. We're making sure that there's easy accessibility through a new sidewalk up that driveway. We are going to supervise that. Public Works is going to be out there, obviously, with the assistance of Recreation. We're going to have some recreation supervision. It does not need to be a lifeguard because there is not the opportunity to drown like at the beaches or a pool. There isn't any standing water that's left. It all gets drained. I do want to compliment Alderman Gurman. Alderman Gurman suggested at one point that we should look into the potential of recycling the water at the golf course. We spend $20,000 to $25,000 a year on the water bill at the golf course across the street at the Orchards. We are taking that suggestion, we are putting in pipe, and that is the plan to recycle the water that comes from the splash pad. So that is part of this entire project, but it should be very well utilized, especially on hot, muggy days like today.
Just a follow-up question. So therefore, non-residents will not be charged for parking?
We're going to have 2 areas that are going to be designated Milford parking stickers only, but anyone is going to be available at this point in time to utilize the park. If we need to investigate alternatives because that system is not working out, we will. But at this point, anyone can use the park, and we are going to have designated areas where you have to park with a Milford parking sticker.
So therefore, there's no charge to outside non-residents at this point?
At this point, no.
Thank you.
Next item on our agenda is on agenda item number 9. There is no new business. Agenda item number 10, there is no budget memo transfer. Agenda item number 11, moving on to refunds. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item number 11A.
I move to approve the refunds in the amount of $341,398.99.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Agenda item number 12, reports of standing committees. Are there any reports of standing committees? Seeing none, we'll move on to agenda item number 13, reports of special committees. Is there any reports of any special committees? Seeing none, the next item on the agenda is executive session. I will entertain a motion to go into executive session to discuss 14A, consideration of settlement of HIT portfolio Number 2, owner, LLC versus City of Milford regarding 129 Plains Road. 14B, consideration of settlement of Woodmont Realty Investors, LLC versus City of Milford regarding 130 Woodmont Road. 14C, consideration of settlement of Kelly Delacroce Family Trust versus City of Milford regarding 138 Woodmont Road. 14D, consideration of settlement of 15 Research Drive LLC versus City of Milford regarding 15 Research Drive. 14E, consideration of settlement of Rogers Service Company Incorporated versus City of Milford regarding 18 New Haven Avenue. 14F, consideration of settlement of Joe D. Trust versus City of Milford regarding 114 Woodmont Road. 14G, consideration of settlement of the Milford Yacht Club versus City of Milford regarding 131 Trumbull Avenue. Joining us in executive session for item 14 will be the Mayor, Ben Blake, and City Attorney John Bertram, and Assessor Dan Thomas. Is there a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Can I have a second? Second. Motion has been made and seconded to go into executive session. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We're in executive session. Will the aldermen please take their seats so we could finish our meeting? Thank you. We're out of the executive session. Alderman Vecchiarelli.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to authorize settlement in the matter of HIT Portfolio Owners LLC versus City of Milford regarding 129 Plains Road in accordance with the recommendations of the City Attorney and City Assessor as discussed in executive session.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, 14B.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to authorize settlement in the matter of Woodmont Realty Investors LLC versus City of Milford regarding 130 Woodmont Road in accordance with the recommendations of the City Attorney and the City Assessor as discussed in executive session.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 14C.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to authorize settlement in the matter of Kelly Delacroche Family Trust versus City of Milford regarding 138 Woodmont Road in accordance with the recommendations of the City Attorney and City Assessor as discussed in executive session.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 14E.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to authorize settlement in the matter of 15 Research Drive LLC versus City of Milford regarding 15 Research Drive in accordance with the recommendations of the City Attorney and the City Assessor as discussed in executive session.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 14E.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to authorize settlement in the matter of Rogers Service Company Incorporated versus City of Milford regarding 18 New Haven Ave in accordance with the recommendations of the City Attorney and City Assessor as discussed in executive session.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 14F.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to authorize settlement in the matter of Jody Trust versus City of Milford regarding 114 Woodmont Road in accordance with the recommendations of the City Attorney and City Assessor as discussed in executive session.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, the last on the agenda is 14G.
I have a question. Mr. Chairman, can I?
Yes.
Mr. Bertram, if I may, this last item, 14G.
Mr. Chairman, I think we have to make the motion before we're going to discuss it, too.
So make the motion, we'll make it under discussion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to authorize settlement in the matter of the Milford Yacht Club versus the City of Milford regarding 131 Trumbull Ave in accordance with the recommendations of the City Attorney and City Assessor as discussed in executive session.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Alderman Vecchiarelli.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask the City Attorney if it's permissible for me to, in my personal recommendation on this matter, if I can disclose the figure that we are going to, if we vote in the affirmative, how much money we're going to be in the giving off.
Mr. Chair, through you to Alderman Vecchiarelli, no, that was an executive session. It's not permitted to be discussed in a public forum.
When I hear my constituents, I realize that I can vote no or in the affirmative on this, but when my constituents find out the number of the tax relief that we're going to give this #1 prime piece of real estate in the city of Milford, they're going to be asking me, did you know the figure that we were going to tax break we're going to be giving them? And, you know, I'm going to have to say yes, but why wouldn't I be able to publicly state why I can't support this? And I mean, are these figures, are they open to the public?
Mr. Chair, through you to Alderman Vecchiarelli, this is not a tax break. This is a settlement of a tax appeal as to what the fair market value of the property is. You're not giving them a tax break. You're agreeing, you're voting yay or nay on a compromised figure.
Oh, but there is a tax break here. They will be paying a substantial amount less in taxes in the coming years. I mean, we're not talking a little bit. This is a substantial break in taxes. So in my book, and I believe my constituents' book, they're going to get a tax break here. And I wouldn't mind being able to tell how much it is, because I don't take this lightly. I mean, I don't like having to do this, but I don't personally feel that much of a tax, whatever we want to call it, is proper for that piece of property.
Mr. Chair, through you to Alderman Vecchiarelli, you are free to vote no. What was discussed in executive session cannot be disclosed beyond that room.
You can tell your constituents, Alderman Vecchiarelli, that you voted against it because you didn't, but you... Alderman Smith.
Just two questions on that point, if I may, Mr. Chairman, to the city attorney. At some point, whatever the assessed value of a piece of property, private or commercial in this city, does become public knowledge. I can go down to the assessor's office and find this information out. To Alderman Vecchiarelli's point, would there be, I understand that it's proprietary, it was in executive session and therefore is sacrosanct. However, at some point, to his point, this assessment, not a tax break, but a revaluation it should become public knowledge. Is that correct?
If this board votes to approve the proposed settlement, yes, that will be on the land records or on the tax assessor's vision appraisal.
The second part of the question, Mr. City Attorney, if I could, Mr. Chairman, I've never voted against a settlement approval that we've concluded in executive session. What happens if this board decided to reject this reassessment? Does it go back to the city assessor's office to renegotiate? Does it go back to the court? What happens if this body rejects that, accepts that settlement?
Mr. Chair, through you to Alderman Smith, it goes to trial.
And all of the expenses that would incur to the city.
Right, and there's the appraised value that the taxpayer proposes, and then there's ours, and there's expenses of appraisals and the like.
Thank you.
Alderman Vecchiarelli.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm not sure, I'm not 100% sure if my ears heard me right, but from what when you go, let's say, to get a mortgage on a house, you don't
Mr. Chairman, point of order. I think we should move the question with all due respect. This could have been discussed in executive session.
If you had stayed and listened, you might have been able to listen to what I said, but you left the room with a lot of other people before the meeting was over. And if I may continue, the idea here is that you don't get to pick the appraiser that's going to do your property when you go to court, you know, or if you're looking for a mortgage. There's a genuine bias that's built in there. And in this case, I do believe that the city assessor has told us that this appraisal was done by a member of the Milford Yacht Club. Now, I could be mistaken, and also it comes with a lot of credentials.
Mr. Chair,
but
please, what was discussed in executive session must remain in executive session. Let me just, through you to Alderman Vecchiarelli, I just please remind you.
Okay, I apologize, but I suppose part of what I would like to see is, in my opinion, a non-biased appraiser that could appraise this property honestly with the city, so that there's two prices that have gotten by professionals, and then we could come to an honest opinion of the two.
Mr. Chair, through you to Alderman Vecchiarelli, let me just tell you generally how tax appeals work. There's a value put on by the city. There's a period of time which the property owner can take an appeal. They do that. They then produce an appraisal or something to contest the value assessed by the city. They choose their appraisal, or they come up with information that challenges, and they say it's worth X, and we say it's worth Y. And we have a pretrial conference, and we discuss the merits of their position. We are also entitled to get an appraiser if we go to trial. We save the cost, we hear their arguments, and Dan, in his expertise, weighs the pros and cons of the arguments raised by the appellant. So just to refute a bit of your comment in terms of appraisers and bias, each side is entitled to their own appraisal. We don't expend those monies until it's necessary if we go to trial, because Dan is equipped to deal with those questions as to value in his capacity as the assessor.
Okay, I understand that, but I got to tell you right now here, if this is something that doesn't go to trial, then I would be surprised. This is just does not seem fair to the taxpayers, not this taxpayer. Thank you.
Any more discussion?
Yes.
Alderman Beatty.
In light of this objection, is there a mechanism that we could table what was decided on this motion in the executive session and discuss it at a later time? For whatever reasons, the ending was overly casual. I did not know there were objections on the floor to this. I didn't hear the objections, and now it's inappropriate to tell us the objections. So can we table this and move it back into an executive session at another meeting? And
We could postpone it to another time.
So I make a motion to pass over this motion at this time and postpone it.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor to postpone this vote on this executive session item. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Did I hear a no? Roll call vote, Madam Secretary.
Alderman Anderson?
Yes.
Alderman Beatty?
Yes.
Alderman Fortunati? Alderman Gainer? Alderman Gurman? Alderman Genatasio? Alderman Grant?
Yes.
Alderman Hardiman? Alderman Smith? Alderman Sutton? Alderman Tranquilli? Alderman Beccarelli?
Yes.
Alderman Vitro?
Yes.
Alderman Vitale? 12 yes, 2.
There was 12 yes, 2 no. It passes. We postpone it to another date. Date to be announced, Mayor, Mr. Mayor.
It'll come up on the tabled items of the next meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Is there a motion to adjourn? Oh, I'm sorry, on the original motion. All in favor? That was an amendment. That was an amendment.
We got to vote on all the rest.
Oh, it's a motion to table, I'm sorry. All in favor? Opposed?
I don't think we...
One by one.
We did? Okay. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you.